My name is Amy Jandusa English. I am the Project Director for Energy Partnerships here at the National Community Action Partnership. We are very glad that you're here today. Next slide. Before we move on, I would like to invite everyone to register for our 2024 MLTC conference this year in Las Vegas. We will have at least 5 weatherization sessions as well as a pre-conference workshop, and it's going to be in a very beautiful resort. So after the presentation commences, I will post the registration link in the chat as well. Next slide. Now, for the best part of every NCAP webinar, we'll recite the promise of community action. Community action changes people's lives, embodies the spirit of hope, improves communities, and makes America a better place to live. We care about the entire community, and we are dedicated to helping people help themselves and each other. Next slide. Okay, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our speakers from the Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program, Weatherization Workforce Development Initiative. They have been working on this for well over a year, and I was privileged enough to visit some of their conferences this year, and I thought that the entire model was so exciting. I wanted to make sure that we were able to showcase it for our network. So we will hear from 3 speakers today, Walker Miller Energy, the Illinois Association of Community Action Agencies, and Ameren, Illinois. So I will turn it over to our first speaker, Diana Fuller with Walker Miller.
Thank you, Amy. It's a pleasure to be here today to share some of our hard work that our team has been doing this past year and that we've accomplished with some great partners. I'm going to discuss the Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Weatherization Workforce Development Initiative for community action agencies. Many of the people that I work closely with this on also know it as the Community Action Staffing, Supplemental Staffing Initiative. So you'll hear it by a couple different names, but next slide, please. Okay, so as Amy said, I'm Diana Fuller. I am the Community Organizations Manager with Walker Miller Energy Services. I've been working with Walker Miller for 2 years now, and I've got about 12 years of energy efficiency experience, renewable energy and sustainable development experience, working with private businesses, nonprofits, tribal communities, as well as non-tribal communities. I have a bachelor's in renewable energy from the Illinois State University, and I received my master's in arts and sustainable development and public policy from the University of Illinois here in Springfield. Next. Joining me today is Nicole Popejoy. She is the Director of Utility and Energy Programs with Illinois Association of Community Action Agencies, otherwise called IACAA. Nicole is the director of the IACAA program. She started as a program specialist for the Employment Barrier Reduction Pilot Program in 2021. Prior to that, she was the youth program director for a nonprofit and a program manager for a swim school for children. She's passionate about making a difference and helping others, and Nicole holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's of art in counseling, both from Cincinnati Christian University. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah. Hi, thank you, Diana. I'm very excited to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to share what we've been working on. So I look forward to that.
Absolutely. Next slide. Okay, and our other partner has been Jamie Neal. She is the Energy Efficiency Manager with Ameren, Illinois. She is a program supervisor for Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program. She has 25 years in the utility industry, specializing in energy efficiency, customer service, as well as credit and collections. Jamie supervises the single-family home, mobile home, electrification, and community action agency initiatives. She's a community activist and works with underprivileged youth in her spare time. And Jamie has a Bachelor's of Science in Workforce Education and Development and is currently pursuing a Master's in Management and Leadership at Western Governors University. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Diana. Thank you. Happy to be here and welcome.
Okay. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. Here's a quick overview. So you'll hear from each one of us throughout the presentation, but we'll primarily discuss the background of this staffing pilot, who the partners were to get it off the ground. We'll talk about it in 3 different phases. So phase 1, phase 2, and then phase 3. And then we'll talk about some of the conclusions that came from this pilot program that we launched over a year ago now. So let's start with the background. Okay, so key point to what kind of started all of this was the Illinois Association of Community Action Agencies, or IACAA, did a capacity survey and had some key findings from that survey back in 2021. So the survey is conducted by IACAA annually, and the purpose was to gather information from the community action agencies to help us determine their current and expected future state of capacity for weatherization production throughout the year. And so the survey covered multiple topics, not just staffing, but several other topics that aren't discussed here. Okay, thank you. At the time of the survey, we had 16 out of 22 agencies in Ameren, Illinois territory that were expecting to hire new staff for positions that were currently open. The agencies reported needing assistance finding qualified applicants for assessors, final inspectors, and office support. The channel staff held a discovery session with all 22 agencies in the Ameren, Illinois territory. And based on those discovery sessions with the Walker-Miller team, Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program leadership recommended providing assistance to the agency with identifying, hiring, and training qualified staff to assist agencies. So before we dive into the details of how that was done, we had, like I said, several partners that were involved. Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity delivers impactful and efficient programs and services. They were vital in this process through the Illinois Office of Community Assistance and Weatherization. Of course, we had our partners at IACAA, who are promoting and elevating the health and education of economic standards of low-income residents throughout Illinois. Next slide. Okay. We also had partners with Ameren, Illinois' Market Development Initiative, also called MDI. MDI cultivates new economic and energy efficient opportunities for diverse individuals and communities residing in the Ameren, Illinois service territory. So there were 3 goals of the MDI partnership, and they are to provide energy efficiency to customers who have not previously participated, diversify the energy efficiency workforce, and increase dollars spent with diverse businesses. So again, this staffing pilot was broken down into 3 different phases. Real quick overview here of each of the phases. Phase 1, we had cross-trained channel staff, Walker-Miller staff, and then we had 2 agencies sign up. We'll get into the details of what that looked like. Phase 2, IACAA hired permanent staff, and for phase 2, we had 6 agencies participate and 2 trainees hired. We'll talk about that design. Phase 3, we had agencies that were offered full-time paid partnership between Ameren, Illinois and DCEO, Office of Weatherization. We had 5 agencies participate in this pilot, and then 7 candidates that were hired preceding this phase 3 pilot. So we'll get into those details as well. But let's
And
start back
Diana,
at the beginning. Yeah.
could I ask a clarifying question? I'm curious to know, was Walker Miller involved from the beginning? It sounds like you were. How did Walker Miller get into the role of implementing and facilitating this partnership?
Walker Miller was the chosen implementer for the CAA program with Ameren, Illinois.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Phase 1. Okay, so as I said in the overview, the design for phase 1 is really what kind of gave life to this. We utilize existing staff from the HEIQ program called the Home Efficiency Income Qualified Initiative. This is under the Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program. This initiative took that one person from that program and put them into the CAA program. The staff member was already certified in building envelope and quality control inspections by the Building Performance Institute, and that's kind of key to helping speed up some of this timeline. But this started in February of 22. They began TCP training, and then this ended, phase 1 ended June 30th of 2022. So that's a short, brief timeline, but we learned a lot. Go ahead. So we want to make sure everybody understands the funding and how this was funded. DCEO's Weatherization program grants funded the TCP training program, associated travel costs through the Agency Training and Technical Assistance Fund. And then the Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program funded the cost of salaries and travel during the time the staff were out in the field. So it was kind of a split funding agreement. Go ahead.
Diana, do you know if those funds that came from DCEO were actually DOE Weatherization Training and Technical Assistance funds, or were they another revenue source from the state?
I think they were training funds.
I think I also believe so.
Yeah. Okay, so the two agencies that we had sign up, one was Madison County. They are Madison County Community Development. They operate as a government-run agency. And I share the operations of each agency because it determines kind of how that agency can and can't run, what they can and can't do is a little bit different in each community. So Madison County is a government-run agency. For their weatherization program, they are set up to have contractors and crew members in their weatherization program. Madison County at the time wanted to sign up for phase 1 with us because they said it would volunteer to free up other Madison County assessors. So they were kind of at capacity and they were needing to get some projects going. During this 5-month period, the staff member that was cross-trained was able to complete 3 assessments with Madison County. Go ahead. The other agency that they that signed up with us is called CEFS. That's an acronym for each county. Nicole, you might know the counties that they are under, but I call them CEFS for short. They operate as a not-for-profit. They're also a contractor-based program for their weatherization program. And at the time, the agency joined the phase 1 because they were left shorthanded due to staff being on medical leave. And they shared with us that the supplemental staffing plan provided the agency with trained staff needed to fill in and complete assessments without needing additional time for training and monitoring. And this individual was able to complete 4 assessments. So there's a total of 7 assessments in 5 months with this individual going through TCP training. Next slide. So like I said, that short time frame provided us with a lot of lessons learned. First, we realized quickly we needed to improve the communication between the agency and assessor regarding scheduling assessments. We wanted to improve the onboarding at the agency for the required documentation process, and learned that the assessors need more time training for using WeatherWorks, and that is the state required weatherization program that they use. We also needed to increase the time that the assessors spent at any one agency to learn internal operations of that agency. It really came to the surface very quickly in phase 1. And I think Nicole did add the SEFs. Thank you, Nicole. Serves Christian, Clay, Effingham, Fayette, Montgomery, Moultrie, and Shelby counties. Okay. Phase 2. So once phase 1 was complete, we started phase 2 and actually phase 3 kind of at the same time. Phase 2 focuses on IACAA taking the lead here. So phase 2 provided funds to IACAA to hire 2 supplemental staffing pilot weatherization specialists to provide direct support to the agencies within their assigned regions. This process started in August of 22 and closed this past August 2023. So for a full year, IACAA hired 2 professionals. One covered the central region of Ameren territory and one covered the southern region of the Ameren, Illinois territory. Recruitment for the channel collaborated to assist IACAA in filling these roles with the MDI workforce development effort. In partnering with them to fill these roles, we ensured that qualified, local, and diverse candidates were considered and met the needs of the overall supplemental staffing pilot. So our hiring approach in this design for phase 2, we hired 2 new employees and we housed them within IACAA to be dispatched to agencies in need of staffing assistance. And again, these are people that are acting as weatherization staff for the agencies. We wanted to attempt to provide remote options when possible to minimize the travel time in each region, and then ensure that they obtain or have the quality control inspector credentials and enroll them in the required Illinois training and certification program that we call TCP training. So they needed to complete those while they were in the phase 2 pilot program with IACAA. So more on the design here, the agency supplementation approach. So when determining which agencies could sign up for phase 2, we looked at things such as their weatherization budget across multiple funding streams, including utility and state funding streams. We looked at current staffing levels at that time, and then any pending staffing changes that they may have known about. Looking at their current progress toward their production goals for the year, and then agency requests for assistance. And then we also worked with each agency to develop project plans. This included projected production impact of the staffing supplement, the work scope of the supplemental person at the agency. So this included, again, WeatherWorks information, data entry, energy assessments, QCI inspections, contractor management, procurement, time management, anything that the agency felt they would be involved in. And of course, this was at no cost to the agencies, being a pilot program. So again, each agency partnership included each assessor completing TCP training during their time with the agency, tracking the number of assessments and or final inspections that they shadowed or assisted on or even completed. Weekly check-ins were held with the IACAA director, and then assessors worked with the agency staff to learn the process and procedures of the assessments and or final inspections done in the field. So they had time to learn all of that, such as we learned from phase 1. Okay. Thank you. Of course, with this being a new, essentially a new program for IACAA, they had to also purchase the equipment for these two new assessors to be successful. And so there's a quick list of equipment that we purchased. Total estimated cost was about $323,800. This included the salary, the benefits, administration, equipment, phone, vehicles, IT needed. Of course, that's not including any adjustments afterward that we needed to make, but to get started. The first brave agency that joined us was Champaign County Regional Planning Commission. Their partnership, again, included that TCP training during their time with the agency. And then the assessor was also treated as a full-time employee with the agency. So this individual is completing their training while helping them do assessments. Champaign agency shared with us that they, at the time, were focused on rebuilding when the IACAA assessor joined the team. So it really did help them. The impact that he had while he was there was the assessor assisted with at least 20 assessments, finals, home inspections, and 1 multifamily assessment. The assessor assisted with contractor procurement and presenting the actual pilot program to new contractors so that they could understand what the benefits were for them as well. And then the next steps for the IACAA assessor was to complete the energy auditor credentials and the quality control inspector credentials. From Champaign, they were onboarded with Sangamon County. Champaign shared some of the lessons learned. Here it was helpful if the assessor could have more remote access to a secure connection to the agency network to assist with documentation. They also shared the feedback that having the IACAA employee come to Champaign County made us a better agency. So it was a very positive experience. The second agency that joined us was St. Clair County Community Action Agency. Their partnership included much the same as Champaign. Assessor was to complete the TCP training required by the state during their time with St. Clair. They were going to also track the number of assessments and final inspections shadowed or completed. Walk-in check-ins were held with Nicole at IACAA, and then the assessors work with the agency staff to learn the process and procedures of their assessments and doing final inspections in the field. Their motivation for joining was it was an opportunity for the agency to complete weatherization projects. The gentleman had an impact with assisting with 30 assessments at St. Clair. He also gained exposure to in-progress work, final inspections, and deferral checks, and was able to complete 2 assessments in WeatherWorks. Some lessons learned from St. Clair County was in the future to perhaps consider using a camera to assist with documentation. Wanted to share with other agencies to start the process early for accessing WeatherWorks. And then for the next steps for this assessor was to, again, complete the credentials for energy advisor and quality control inspector. And then they would onboard with BCMW, Community Action Agency. Weatherization coordinator Lyle shared that he would do it again for the agency in a heartbeat. So we did learn some lessons in phase 2 as well. The agency and assessors should have been a part of ordering the process for equipment. So we don't want to order that equipment in a vacuum next time around. Assessors having experience in the field or a related field is helpful as they can jump into the work a little bit faster and lessen that training time a little bit more. Again, this was a new program for IACAA to take part in, and so they did have to develop a new CAR policy, and then regular communication and flexibility with the assessors and the agencies could be improved moving forward. So communication is very key in these pilots. And I will pass it right now to Nicole so she can share what the program year ended up looking like. Hi, Nicole.
Hello, thank you. You did such a wonderful job explaining all of that and really getting into the details. I am happy to share in a kind of a chart format to show the assistance that these two gentlemen were able to offer. As Diana shared, they did go through a lot of training first. They did come from similar backgrounds and had some experience in a related field, but learning the weatherization program the way that Illinois would like them to learn it is a whole new process. So they did the building science principles, as well as the 10-week TCP course that Diana mentioned. The format that they have that set up for Illinois is to encourage a lot of practice with what you're learning. So they did 10-week, like 1 week in class and 1 week back at the agency to kind of practice what they learned, and then a week back in class and go back and practice. So that really does take 20 weeks out of your year for that assessor to really gain as much knowledge as they can from the trainers and the coaches at our Illinois Training Center. And they came out excelling and able to do those assessments, initial inspections on their own, tested out with that, and became Energy Auditor certified and QCI certified as well. So that training time took from August of 22, and they were able to finish all of that training by April of 23. So in that time frame, from August to March, each of the assessors were assigned to one agency based on the learnings that we found from phase 1 about the assessor not having enough time at the agency. We gave them 6 months at one agency for them to be able to complete all their training and learn the agency procedures, and then really assist and help with those production numbers that were needed. So each of them did about 20 to 30 projects that they shadowed with the agency during that 6-month time frame. Then they moved on to their second assignment and had 3 months at that second assignment where they were finishing out that field test of the Energy Auditor certification, QCI certification. And then on top of those certifications, were able to provide the agency that they were with 22 assessments for Specialist 1 and 21 assessments for Specialist 2 in that 3-month time frame, along with certifications that they got. So they are able to really focus on the production side of things now that they've gotten their training completed. Then they moved on to their third agency, and training is complete. So they were able to help with 26 assessments and 2 in progress with the first agency. And on the bottom half of the chart there, the second assessor was able to do 28 initial assessments and 3 final inspections. So overall, they were able to help 6 agencies with 97 total projects. And that's a huge benefit to those agencies that wouldn't have otherwise gotten them completed. So all of the agencies that participated really did enjoy and have requested to have these assessors come back, and have actually offered jobs to all of them too. But they are sticking with IACAA because what we had planned going forward, since this program ended in August of 23, they're now doing the same kind of work for the agencies at a fee-for-service format, where the agencies request to have a certain number of projects completed, or to come in and assist with administrative help or training a new coordinator. We have put them through an agency coordinator training so that they can better assist our newer coordinators throughout Illinois, and then also continue to help with those initial assessments, final inspections, in-progress inspections. So between August and right now, they have been helping 4 different agencies. We have them planned out through January or February of 2024 at this point, based on the support that our agencies are asking for from these 2 individuals. So we're really excited to be able to expand what this phase 2 has looked like into an ongoing assistance for our Illinois network. In doing that, we've also have plans to expand As this phase 2 was all with Ameren, Illinois, we're working on expanding up to the Northern Illinois agencies with some of the northern utilities. So it's been a long process and so much assistance and so much growth that we've been able to assist our Illinois network with, and looking forward to what comes next with all of this. Thank you, Diana. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Nicole. It's wonderful to hear how far we've come with just an idea, right?
I think we need to go to the next slide.
My name is David Morrison. I work with IACAA, and I am a weatherization specialist. IACAA is implementing a pilot program where basically there's a lot of agencies around Illinois that are in desperate need of assessors. What I do is I get assigned to any county that's in need of additional help to do the assessments. So I'm not a one-man show. There's other great assessors here in St. Clair County that I basically just assist with their day-to-day operations so we can get out to more houses and do more work.
At Ameren, Illinois, it's important to us that we power the quality of life and that we implement and partner with these programs to be able to create that sustainable energy for our future. And these programs make that possible.
St. Clair will do about 75 assessments this year for PY 2023. David has partaken in 10 to 14 assessments so far. They gave St. Clair County a chance to expand, add another assessor, basically at no cost to us, and it gave us a chance to bring somebody new in. When I first met David, I thought he had a good heart. He fit very well into this program. He shows compassion to people.
I would say almost every single person we encounter in the weatherization program is extremely grateful for the work that we're doing. We're providing assistance that people desperately need.
Ameren is the sponsor of the Supplemental Staffing Pilot Program. It is a great program. It is an opportunity where we have worked with our Community Action Agency partners to identify their needs and give them staff to help customers with healthier homes and lowering their energy costs.
IACAA plays a lead role in facilitating the communication between the agencies. It's been a great opportunity for growth and having the opportunity to supervise people who really care about the work that they're doing and want to make a difference for the customers. I've had a great experience working with David as well as working with our agencies.
We have more agencies coming on board asking, hey, I want to get part of that great program and I have a staffing need for an assessor or a quality field specialist. It's seeing and meeting the need, creating job opportunities and workforce development in these technical fields to be able to support the agencies to help our customers. And that's really the key here. At Ameren, we want to power the quality of life. It is important for us, for our customers, to be successful and have that environment that's healthier, to have a safe environment for their home.
Thank you. Just a quick video on some of the good work that they're doing and utilizing now for recruiting new staff members to join the weatherization program on behalf of agencies. Nope.
One moment, we seem to have the video ate my sharing. So I'll be right with you.
Thanks, Emily.
No worries. I want to thank you for sharing that video with us because that was beautiful. What was the purpose of creating that video? Did you use it to promote the program or did you use it to present at another conference or?
We use it now to help promote like different job fairs, individuals to come into weatherization as part of their career advancement.
Mm-hmm. And until our slides come back, I wanted to ask, in the slides preceding the video, you mentioned that it was like one of the ideals would be to find somebody who had some weatherization experience before joining this program. And I was wondering, what is the experience arc of the candidates that did come in? Where did they come from? What's their backstory? Where did you recruit them from? Because I think that our audience probably wants to know that.
Nicole might have more info on that.
Sure. We did use Indeed, and it was about a year and a half ago when that was posted, and we did get some good candidates from them. We also worked with Walker Miller and some partners that they have, some third-party partners with recruitment. And it turned out that the ones that we selected did come from Indeed. One had some HVAC experience and one had some contractor experience. So they at least were familiar with working with contractors and understanding a little bit of how the house works. But that's the whole point of our TCP, the Illinois Training Certification Program, is to learn more about how the house all works as a system and what they need to do and what they need to look for when they walk into the house for that initial assessment.
Thank you. Great. Should we close it out with talking about phase 3?
Okay, sure. Phase 3, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so phase 3 is a focus between Ameren, Illinois and DCEO Weatherization Program, formulated a partnership program in this phase. So the purpose of this is, again, solely focused on the agency capacity for in-field staff and to increase the participation in the braided IWAP program. So that's the utility weatherization program. The goal of the partnership was to provide a full-time paid opportunity to individuals with community action agencies where the agency has the option to offer full-time employment upon completion. DCEO worked to develop a long-term pipeline of workforce candidates that have completed BPI's building science principles and the state required training certification program. Candidates are eligible for employment by community action agencies as certified assessors and final inspectors after the 1-year timeline. And recruitment was focused on households in low-income communities. So again, this is essentially like an internship program. It kind of mimics an internship program, but we called it a partnership. Next slide. So for this, our recruitment partners included the Community Action Agency Walker Miller Channel staff. They work closely with all the agencies participating to understand each agency's human resource policies related to hiring. This included things like location, policies on returning citizens, background checks, pre-screens, interview processes, everything such as that. We partnered with our SEAL partners, Solutions for Energy Efficiency Logistics, and they also focus on helping us in Peoria, Illinois. They offer wraparound services, including one-on-one coaching, resumes, and interview prep, soft skills, offered transportation, financial support, daycare, and any referrals that the individuals may need to be successful candidates in the phase 3 internship program. Next slide. Thank you. So again, as I mentioned before, we started phase 3 in conjunction at the same time frame we started phase 2, started in August of 2022 and went through August of 2023. So it just closed. The host agency may choose to offer permanent employment depending on the individual's performance during their time with the agency. If it doesn't go well, IACAA is there to act as an additional placement resource for individuals. Funding for this phase 3 design, Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program sponsored up to 18 individuals at $18,000 each. And DCEO covered the cost for recruitment, salaries, BPI, and TCP training, as well as transportation, lodging through the IWAP grants that flow through the agencies already. So we had several agencies sign up for phase 3, in which we were acting as hiring and recruitment partners with them. We did have SEFs. We had the Empress River Basin Agency, otherwise called IRBA, Illinois Valley Economic Development Corporation, we call Illinois Valley, Peoria Citizens Committee for Economic Opportunity Incorporated, also known as PCCEO, Sangamon County Community Resources, St. Clair County Community Action Agency, and Two Rivers Regional Council. And as you can see through the table here, we did have success in placing individuals with 4 different agencies that were looking for 1 staff member to join them, and then PCCEO did successfully hire 3 candidates to join their agency who are still employed there today. And unfortunately, we did not have any successful hires or placements for SEFs or for Two Rivers. Next slide. So several successes and challenges. Successes that we did have from phase 3 included 7 candidates being placed due to the recruitment outreach. We developed 13 new partnerships in the CAA program, creating a pipeline of candidates and opportunities for engagement. 7 agencies participated and 1 agency with multiple candidates. We learned some challenges, however, some of them including placing returning citizens due to the agency's hiring policies. Recruitment in rural areas was proven to be challenging. Multiple candidates at 1 agency was requested, but not being able to complete that request due to the agency's space and capacity where they're currently at. Some candidates were actually unresponsive. We had quite a few that did not return phone calls. And then agencies and states of rebuilding need immediate support from formally trained assessors and final inspectors. So it kind of bumps them back to the phase 2 portion, where an agency that's needing help is trying to get that long-term staff member hired through our partnership with the DCEO and Ameren, but it's in such a critical need that they have to go back to IACAA to now get that supplemental staff to just keep them going. Was kind of what we found there. So challenges are ongoing, but definitely able to learn from them and hopefully overcome them in the future. Next slide.
Diana, before you go, could you elaborate on the barriers to hiring returning citizens? Because I know that's an area of interest in the broader weatherization dialogue. What kind of problems did you run into with working with that population?
Yeah, so largely the problem was not identifying, returning citizens, but finding the right agency that had the supportive hiring policies and practices in place for them to be successful. Depending on the background of the returning citizen, it may or may not work. So it's really important to partner closely with the agencies to understand those practices and expectations, so that when you are talking to a candidate that's a returning citizen, just as involved citizen, anything like that, you can speak to them truthfully about what is anticipated and what's expected.
Were there specific policies that presented the biggest problem? Are they things that all community action agencies might have, or agency specific?
I think the primary, I'd say overarching theme from the agencies that we found was just understanding the background of the returning citizen. What are the actual charges against them? Are those charges something that, is deemed, quote, safe, or, do they need to work on some areas prior to coming back into the community?
Thanks, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so what's next? This program closed in August of 2023, but they do continue to work with the agencies on a day-to-day basis in the Community Action Agency program. They're still building partnerships to continue to build that recruitment pipeline. They're still doing community engagement to support the recruitment pipeline as well. So the Walker Miller staff are out in the communities, getting involved in those events that are local to the community and to the agencies, so that they're talking to local people on the ground. And then, of course, Ameren, Illinois Energy Efficiency Program channel, the Community Action Agency channel, is continuing to provide a holistic support to the agencies throughout the territory. And I'm sure Jamie can speak more to that as well. Okay, and then in conclusion here, what we did learn was the utilization of existing qualified cross-programmatic staff provided the support to the two agencies that signed up. So again, that phase 1 did prove that the theory does work. The recruitment and hiring of 2 dedicated supplemental staffing pilots employed by IACAA has been beneficial to the agencies that have completed all 3 rounds. And then finally, the partnership model between the utility and the state is increasing the agency's staffing capacity for assessors and building partnerships that support a pipeline of candidates available to the agencies. So I'd say overall, we had some challenges, but we had a lot of successes that hopefully other agencies can take away and utilize some of these models that we've created here in Illinois.
Thank you so much. Just to clarify, you're saying that there were 2 that were hired directly by IACAA, but there were also other staff that got placed at agencies, because there was a higher total number, right?
Yeah, so phase 2, IACAA hired 2 gentlemen that work as supplements now. And then in phase 3, we had 6 agencies participate, and we hired 7 individuals to work with different agencies. So
they're placed directly at the local agency, and they're employed by that agency, and they don't travel outside of that agency service territory?
No, yep. They are employed by the agency.
The IACAA staff do travel throughout the utility service territory, right?
Yes.
Well, this is a very complex program with a lot of moving parts, and I really think it's been fascinating hearing how you developed it and launched it. Is there going to be a phase 4, or is there going to be a phase 1B where you start the whole process over again? Is this something that could be replicated in other parts of Ameren service territory? Ameren as a company, I believe, is in Missouri and maybe another state as well.
Well, I will say, I'm happy to continue strong partnerships and successful collaborative partnerships that we developed to support the staffing pilots, but I'm not sure how appetizing it would be for Jamie and Nicole to continue with the phase 4, but perhaps different models, but I'll let them speak to their intentions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Diana. And thank you, Amy. That was a great question. And so, yeah, we have actually concluded the staffing pilot, and we are the phase that we are wanting to continue to model is working with IACAA to use Corey and David as supplemental staffing. And so what we do with our agencies, though, is, as Diana has spoke to, some of the wraparound services that we work with our program, some of our program implementers that come in, such as SEAL, will work with our community action agency partners to continue to help them with recruitment and staffing and whatever the need may be, along with, Walker Miller staff. So it's a great partnership. And so we'll continue in those efforts moving forward. But great question. Thank you.
You're welcome, Jamie. So, and we know that there was a certain number of units that were worked on by all of these new staff. I'm assuming that from the Ameren standpoint, did you see an increase in the number of completions with the utility braided funds as well?
Yes, that's a great question as well, too, Amy. Yes, I would say that as part of these programs, we did see more agencies come on and participate in braid. We do still continue to have some barriers to work through with agencies as it pertains to braiding. But yes, we did and continue to see more participation and working through a lot of these challenges because it's a holistic approach, So if staffing is, an issue with agencies, if there's something else going on, another priority, or maybe they're on lock or something else is going on, it kind of creates barriers to completing braiding and these type of projects for these programs.
Great. Should we move on to the next slide, possibly?
Amy, to further,
Mhm.
oh, Diana, you're on mute.
Go ahead.
I would say to further answer the question about, what's next on IACAA side of things, as I shared a little bit before, the kind of 1B or the next steps with the phase 2 with Corey and David here in this picture. This was them receiving their certification for participating in this pilot program with us. They are two incredible gentlemen who have really excelled and have a heart for making this work, a lifelong thing for them. They are all in and are ready to continue to help our agencies. And that's why we've turned it into this fee-for-service option for our agencies to continue that supplemental assistance as they are, still rebuilding or adding on more staff. And one of the aspects that we have learned is that they have now recently gone through all of this training. They are great mentors for other new assessors coming into this field and going out into the field with a new assessor and explaining to them, what things to look for. And here's some, some tricks that I found, and here's some, mistakes that I've made that I can share with you so that you don't make those same mistakes. But the mentorship and the training that they are able to offer new people coming into this field at our agencies has really helped, an incredible amount to really gain that production that our agencies and our utility partners are looking for.
Yeah, I think that fee for service piece is very interesting. So does that mean that these gentlemen will continue to draw a paycheck from IACAA and other agencies anywhere in the state can apply to get their services for their weatherization program, even if they're outside of Ameren territory?
Currently, it is kept within the Ameren territory. Ameren, Illinois, Walker Miller, and DCEO are continuing to partner with IACAA in this fee-for-service phase, where they kind of help supplement to make sure that this cost of the fee-for-service is a doable amount for our agencies. So with that partnership, these gentlemen are paid by IACAA, and after they have time with an agency, we bill for that amount of time or travel that is needed, and we make sure that the agency has a doable amount that we're requesting to be paid back.
When will that launch? Have you started that yet?
It has launched. Yes. We actually have had 4 agencies already participating with the fee-for-service, and we have 2 more set up for next month and 2 more set up for January. So it's a busy thing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of demand for it.
There is.
Okay. We can open it up to the participants for Q&A, I believe. Do you want to move to the next slide? Yeah. So if you use the raise hand function, I may be able to call on you to ask a question out loud, or you can post a question in the chat, or you can post a question in the Q&A tab. And if we don't have any questions, then we'll just go ahead and close the webinar. Yes, thank you, Kai. We will circulate the slides as well as a link to the recording of today's session within the next few days. So everybody who registered, not just those who are here today, will receive the slides and a link to the recording. Question from Norma. Did you include administrative staff in this training process?
Yeah, we included the staff at the agency that were involved with the weatherization programs.
What kind of training did that entail?
It's the agency training us actually on what their processes are, what documentation they use, you know, because every agency does their weatherization program just a little different. So as we were going into each agency, we had to learn from them, you know, how do you do your financing? What should he be bringing every time he tries to put in, you know, documentation to WeatherWorks, you know, all of that sort of thing. So it did include finance staff, it did include administrative staff, and the weatherization staff. So everybody knew coming into it, okay, we're part of a pilot, you know, we are going to see names that we may not have seen before. So,
And then there's a question in Q&A. Does Ameren or the CAAs pay the annual salaries of the assessors? I think that's a multifaceted answer, right?
Currently, with the fee for service, it is IACAA paying, and then the fee for service kind of supplements that. We bill out based on the number of hours that have been worked. And then within phase 2, that support was through Ameren, Illinois, Walker Miller, and DCEO. That was the partnership to pay for those salaries.
And they got paid during training as well, correct?
Correct. Yes, DCEO covers a lot of the training.
Yeah, DCEO is the state weatherization grantee in Illinois, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And I think in the beginning, I asked to clarify, we don't have a representative from DCEO here today, but our understanding is that they were making their contribution out of U.S. Department of Energy, weatherization, training, and technical assistance dollars. That's a piece of information that some of our attendees would probably want to know. Okay, thank you, Kai, for telling us that you like the content. If there aren't any other questions, we'll go ahead and give you back a few minutes of your afternoon. I look forward to catching up with this team again in the future, potentially at a conference session or another webinar to find out how your fee-for-service operation has expanded.
Sure. Thank you so much for having us.
And thank you to all of you for having this innovative idea and bringing it into reality.
Absolutely. Glad we could share.
Okay, thank you, Jamie,
Thank you.
Nicole, and Diana. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.